Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Help Is Here podcast, brought to you by the Beyond Compulsion Academy. So I was on the app Brain Buddy this morning. I post on here, I'm trying to help people now and then, trying to share some truths because I was on this app for like 10 years. It's basically one of these porn addiction recovery apps. And yeah, I spent like literally 10 years, probably longer actually, just having these ups and downs, using this app, going on streak after streak, and there's so much misinformation on this app. And with what I know now, having gone beyond this compulsion, having, rewired my addictive neural pathways, I've got so much to share. And so sometimes I just post on here or reply to random posts that people have created. So the post this morning was pretty wild. Someone asked, how do you not feel like shit after a relapse? The first comment was awful. The first comment was, be kind to yourself. Okay, well, then I come along and I reply, do you want to face the reality or do you want to stay stuck, relapsing and feeling good about it? Relapsing feels shit because it is shit to be in an addiction. Trying to minimize that truth is what keeps people stuck for decades. My advice is to write down how shit it feels and face that reality. Read how shit it feels often, and this will help you more than 99% of positive self-talk. That was my response. The reason for that is, for years, I was trying to minimize and reduce how terrible I felt after a relapse. But having spent like 10 years, researching things like shame and understanding how the behaviour is not a reflection of who I intrinsically am, and instead it's this behaviour due to these neural pathways and etc. Having done all that work, I still felt shit after a relapse. Like, I never ever got to a position in my life after reading so much stuff where I was actually relapsing and just like, oh yeah, this is fine, this is okay, it doesn't matter too much. No. I don't think that's ever going to happen for anyone in an addiction. Number one, it goes against like the neuroscience that we know about it, about, how the brain changes after you've through relapsing. It's like the brain's literally going to change and you're going to have this come down, you're going to go into withdrawal. That is what happens. And withdrawal is so real. You are going to feel absolutely terrible if you relapse. You are going to feel shit. Number two, you then have all the thought patterns as well. The addicted part of the mind is back in control the moment you've relapsed. So now you've got all these thought patterns, and usually it's self-deprecation. You're going to be asking yourself, why did I do this again? What's wrong with me? How have I ended up here? How do I stop? Oh God, this, it just feels so bad. Maybe you isolate yourself for a few days. Maybe you feel like, oh, I'm so disgusting. I don't deserve any good in my life anymore. And you have all these intense feelings of shame. The whole thing is a mess. You feel shit if you relapse. And we've worked with so many clients who have literally told the people we work with in the past, we've worked with so many clients who have been told by therapists, just watch porn and try not to feel so bad about it. And it's just so messed up. You're never going to feel good about watching porn. That ship has sailed. The moment you start trying to stop this behaviour and you're committed to overcoming this addiction and you keep on relapsing, once you're in that cycle, the ship has sailed that says, oh, it's okay, maybe you can just relapse and be all right with it. You're addicted. You have these addictive neural pathways. And there's nothing wrong with you for having these addictive neural pathways. It happened to me at the age of 12, right? I wasn't aware of this problem, and none of the guys I work with are aware of the harm of porn. This is a sick sort of societal issue that we have right now, and we're all susceptible to addiction. So there's nothing wrong with you for having this problem, but you do also have to take 100% responsibility to overcome this issue. That's so essential. And if we want to just let the addicted part of the mind talk after relapse and go, oh, it's not that bad, everyone does it, it's normal, well, we're just letting the addicted part of the mind win. We don't want that. What we want to do is put the rational mind back in control, because the rational mind knows, actually, this problem is absolutely destroying my life. It's the thing that impacts my relationships, my energy, my confidence, my self-esteem, and it literally ruins pretty much every area of my life. And we talk to clients day in and day out whose biggest problem in their life is relapsing. before they work with us and get the right training and actually know how to deal with compulsive desires correctly, their biggest problem is watching porn and relapsing. And so to ask the question, how do you not feel shit after relapsing? It's just coming from the addictive part of the mind. It's incredibly obvious. If we fall into, and I say fall loosely, but if we choose the trap of listening to the addictive part of the mind and start trying to minimize the consequences, we're going to stay stuck for decades. I really, really nearly made that mistake. I honestly got to a position personally where I felt quite comfortable talking about this issue and talking about relapsing, and I'd alleviated some of those feelings of shame. But the real deep consequences of being in the addiction remain the same. They were horrible, absolutely horrendous. Just looking back on it, it was horrible being in that addiction. The ups and downs, the lack of mental stability, the lack of groundedness, the disconnection, the isolation, the shame, just all of it, being lonely and just feeling like I was the only one with this problem. The whole thing was a mess. And this is why it's important to recognize this problem is serious. You're not alone. If you do want as well to just hear other people's stories, what we do with every single client we work with is we get our clients to write what are called remember letters. It's where you sit down, pen to paper, and you actually document the reality of living with the consequences of being in an addiction and not knowing how to get out. You document that reality. You talk about the lows. You talk about maybe how awful you once felt, the shame, the isolation, the things that you maybe did that you feel really horrible about. You talk about all of that. You write it down and you get real. You face this truth, because the addictive part of the mind tries to get us away from facing this truth, but it's by facing the uncomfortable truth that we get one step closer to actually taking back control and putting the rational mind back in control, which is absolutely essential. So, every client we work with, they write down a remember letter. What we've done recently is we've collated a lot of these remember letters. It's actually been clients voluntarily contributing to this project, contributing to our mission, which is to help people overcome porn addiction. So they've contributed to our booklet. We've created this booklet. Mary, my mentor, Mary Portis, she's put the booklet together, and we've got a lot of remember letters in there. So these are real life examples of what it's like to live with these porn addicted neural pathways. We've put this into a booklet. At first, we were going to sell it, right? We were going to sell it for like $5 or something. But we actually decided, you know what? This is so important, and these remember letters are so valuable. We want more people to read these, to know, one, they're not alone, and two, there is hope. Like, you can overcome it, because a lot of these guys who have sent over their remember letters, they're now in a very good place mentally. They understand the addictive part of the mind. A lot of them have changed their neural pathways, and a lot of them feel free from this issue. And so these remember letters, they're really just things to look back on. They're just memories to remember, wait, that's how bad it actually was. And that's what it's going to be like if I ever choose to go back into a full-time addiction. And choosing to go into a full-time addiction is choosing to relapse just one time. And that's the critical thing about everything that we talk about, is that, it's never just once. You choose to engage one time, you're back in addiction now. All right. So, if you want to access this booklet, it's completely free. I will leave a link somewhere. Hopefully you can go get it and read these remember letters, look at the reality, look at what the clients we've worked with have experienced. You're probably going to relate, you're probably going to resonate, and hopefully it can help you understand that you're not alone in this problem, and that you absolutely can change your neural pathways, and you can overcome this problem for good. That is absolutely possible. We're never going to get there though if we try and feel good and okay about relapsing. Relapsing is shit. Being in an addiction is shit. But fortunately, with the right training and the right tools, you can deal with the addictive part of the mind moment by moment and rewire your brain for good. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.